Good morning.
Good morning.
So, a number of years ago, I produced an album, a Christmas album, 2 CDs actually, of my mother, and this is the beginning of it. It opens with God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, and then goes through the whole Christmas season, starts with Advent. So, I thought we would actually play a little bit of that today because it's really spectacular, but not as spectacular. My favorite piece is the closing. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. Anyway, good morning. That was a very unexpected weepy moment. Hi.
Hello, my lover.
Well, we can talk about it on New Year's Eve. Because as you know, Daily Dose records on those days. So there's that. Good morning. Good morning. How are you all? You can't answer. I'm going to assume you're fine. Still beautiful weather, so that helps. I have a friend in Ohio who posted a picture today. It looks like they're in the depths of winter. I do have to say, however, we saw John Wheeler, our meteorologist friend, last night. And he reminded us, sadly, that in 2018, we had a fall very much like this, kind of a cold September and crummy October, and then a beautiful November, and that we really had no snow until a light dusting on Christmas Eve day, and then it melted. And then January of 2019 was like the worst winter in a billion years. That's not what John said. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah. So my whole point is just let's enjoy it while we've got it, because we could end up with, what did he say? There were multiple days of 24 inches of snow. Ugh. It was terrible. So
It wasn't terrible to see John because
no, it's always lovely to see John.
It's always lovely to see John Wheeler.
Yeah, just lousy to have a meteorologist with a good memory, more to the point. So anyway, enjoy the weather. That's the short answer to that. So the challenge today is from a meme that my mom sent me, I don't know, this week, last week, 32 years ago, who knows?
No one knows.
No one knows.
Thank you, Johnny Mathis.
Just because Maz keeps referencing that, let me just give you some clarification.
Best Christmas song ever.
It's from a song called When a Child is Born by Johnny Mathis. Maz loves songs that have talky bits in the middle, and there's a big talky bit in this. And Johnny asks a question that I think actually we do know the answer to. He's basically asking, like, what color was the Christ child? And he lists a bunch of colors, and then he says, no one knows. Yeah, we do. He was Middle Eastern Jewish. So we can make a basic assumption around what that baby looked like. Just in case anyone's confused, he did not have eyes my color and hair the color of all the Swensons, Johnsons, Carlsons, and Larsons that live in your community.
I think you might be spiraling there.
It's all right. Just reminding people.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the meme. Here's the...
Good build-up, though, for the meme.
Thank you. Here's the point of the deal today. I pray my friends get through the battles they don't talk about. And partly I wanted to talk about this today because of our amazing guest yesterday, our good friend Tristan Cartoni, who said some stuff that really knocked me backwards. And maybe you too, I don't know. Maybe not you, because you hear these kinds of stories all the time. But he talked about his inner hatred being so strong that his exterior, he allowed his exterior to sort of represent that. And so he just wore big baggy clothes, and he let himself have a scraggy beard and kind of, roughshod hair. And as I said to him before we went on the air, I sort of just assumed he looked like that because he's a computer guy, which is a gross assumption. So I'm sorry that I made that stereotypical assumption around computer people. We have some computer friends who are extremely, keep their hair very short and all those kinds of things. But I didn't think anything of Tristan's appearance because he's a quiet, introverted computer scientist. And so it never would have dawned on me to think that Tristan was struggling with anything, much less addiction and self-loathing. It just never would have crossed my mind. Do you have, like, are there signs that you can see in people now that you've been through things that maybe tip you off differently than those of us who haven't lived through this?
I'd like to preface that by saying I'm not an expert in human behaviour, but
What?
sort of.
As a plant cell wall biochemist,
Yeah,
you're not?
it's just
That's disappointing.
It's like I'm an academic that can admit I don't know everything. I am a rare breed. I'll tell you that now.
in so many ways.
But some people there, thank God for that.
Yes. All right, back to the topic at hand, please.
Yeah, not always, but sometimes.
Well, that's not telling me anything.
Yes, it is.
What is it telling me?
That I can.
Sort of, maybe.
I have a good feeling if someone's suffering.
Okay. So, what can be done? What can somebody on the outside who's not going to be a sponsor type or a mentor type, what could someone do
What to someone they know?
to help someone?
I think just don't be confrontational. Don't, you know. It really would depend on how you say it. You have to say it in a very friendly manner. Don't feel like you've outed them and you feel like you've got one up on them. Yeah, ask them how they're doing, and if they say, "Oh, you know, so and so, I've got this done," and then you can say something. So, all right, for example, if you say to me, "How are you?" and I say, "I'm great. I'm up to date with my grading. I'm waiting for a chunk of work to come in on Monday. They got a deadline at 5 o'clock. I can get on and read that." And you can say to me back, "No, how are you?"
Ah.
That is, and we talked about this in AA. That is the most powerful way to get someone to know very subtly and in a very friendly and non-judgmental manner that they're actually asking you how you are.
Which, has been a conversation that I've heard in multiple areas throughout COVID. That if you say to someone, "How are you?" most people are going to say, "Fine," and we're going to move on with our lives because we're not really asking. But what if you really ask someone, "No, how are
that?" And that is the best way to get someone to open up a little. It's not a non-threat. It's a very non-threatening way of asking someone how they really are.
Okay, so let's play this out a little bit. Let's say someone then feels safe enough to say, "You know what? I think I have a problem. I think I'm struggling." They say something that indicates that your instinct was correct. What do you do at that point?
Then, if you really want to know how they're doing, you've got to have it. You really need to then take the next step and ask them if they want to do anything about it, or they want to talk about it more. Or, ask them if they want to go and grab a coffee or
talk over Zoom.
Or go for a walk, or whatever. There isn't a lot you can do. You can't say, "Oh, let's go bowling" or something, but you can say, "Hey, I've got 10 minutes. You want to go for a quick walk around the block or something? Do you have time to talk, or would you like to talk later?" Something like that. Just make someone feel like you actually really want to know how your friend is feeling.
That's such great, easy sounding advice and hard to...
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not saying, "Oh, it'll be easy then." No, it won't be. But if you really want to know how your friend's doing, and this is what you have to do. And it'll probably mean the world to them.
Well, I can tell you that I can think of one conversation in particular. Probably, so if you got sober in February of 2017, this was probably in the late spring, early summer of 15, maybe 16, but I feel like probably 2015. So 18 months or so before Maz got sober. I had gone to work and I'd forgotten something. So I was about 5 blocks from home, and I turned around and came back, and it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. And I walked into the kitchen, and Maz clearly didn't hear me come in because he was standing looking out at the backyard. Keep in mind, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and he was holding a fresh glass of whiskey. And I walked in, and certainly by this time in our relationship, we were fighting a lot about how much he was drinking. But I walked in, and something very calm came over me. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And you turned around, and I remember very clearly seeing a look cross your face of, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of this? I mean, you looked panic-stricken. And again, something came over me because this is not my natural tendency. I stayed utterly calm and completely non-judgmental, right? Do you agree with that? Mm-hmm. That's good. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks that. And I said, "Mazzy, what are you doing?" And we had what I thought at the time was maybe the best conversation we'd ever had about your drinking. You stayed calm. I felt like you were being very honest. I felt like I stayed calm and very non-judgmental. And I felt like we'd reached a new place. Now, that's because I did not understand that an addict almost certainly cannot hold a glass of whatever they're addicted to and say, "Yeah, I'm going to put this down. I'm done with this now." That's almost impossible. Not absolutely impossible. There are people who do it. I know there are. We've talked to some people who have. But the average addict cannot do that. Do you agree?
I do.
So I bring this up just to say that I think your point about really investing in someone, really getting past that surface, how are you, and stopping and making it very clear that you're actually digging in a loving, kind, invested way, can lead to an important conversation. Now, here's the trick. When you are the non-addict, you have to recognize that that moment isn't a solution. I felt like we'd reached a solution because I wanted us to reach a solution, because I just wanted to be able to fix it and move on. And of course it didn't at all. In fact, I don't know. I don't know how much drinking in the morning you did because I missed a lot of it. But that's not the point. The point is that's an important conversation, but it's not the final conversation.
It's a start.
It's a start. And here's the other thing I want to challenge people who are like me, who are on this end of watching someone going through something, addiction or something else. You can't fix them. Believe me, nobody tried harder to fix their spouse than I did. I am a fixer by nature, if you don't know that about me. Man, will I dig in and I will just shovel and fix and correct and scream and project, and I will do whatever I need to do up to and including create a buffer around the person with my own self to protect them. That doesn't matter. You can't fix this person. Only the person can fix the person.
Tragically true.
Probably with help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another thing, though, which has nothing to do with addiction, is if you ask someone how they are and you're just you're just actually going through the motions. Someone told me this, and then I can't remember who it was, and I then went off and looked it up and read about it, and it was quite sad that a lot of new Americans are asked how they're doing, but then no one listens to them. It's like the Minnesota Nice thing. They actually feel lonely.
That was me. It was my international
Was
students
that you?
who used to say
for
to me,
God's sake.
everyone says hi to me.
Well, that's why it sounded really good and intelligent.
Everyone says
Got
hi
out
to
of
me.
that well.
No one says anything more.
Yeah, and that's it. If you really want to know how someone's doing, you have to make sure they know that you actually want to hear it.
Yeah. stop and listen to anyone you have the opportunity to stop and listen to. So it's 8:45. We got our stuff in the mail to send to the people who commented on our 100th episode. So
Yes,
that's part
Dana
of
was-
this week's task.
Dana was very excited
was.
and then reminded me yesterday that I should also be as excited as Dana was to get the coasters. So I'm
Mary.
I'm excited.
We don't reveal what it is. It's a surprise.
I know.
They can't understand you anyway. It's
Yeah,
all
sorry,
right.
I got it.
All right. I'm putting on some more Advent music. Happy weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.
See you Monday. Have a good one.